crikey. So this is where it all started then?
Yeah, it used to be covered with a big lily.
Yeah.
So this pond, when I first bought the property in '93,
Yeah.
and it wasn't for about 2 years that I came out one day and I suddenly saw these tiny little koi in here.
Fantastic.
And I think the gardener we'd inherited with the property, he must have been feeding them.
Yeah.
So what happened was that I think after about a year or so, they disappeared. So I'm assuming the heron must have come along, cleaned us out.
Filled it up.
So I went along to the local Maidenhead Aquatics, bought 5 koi.
Wow.
Didn't have a clue about temperature changes, anything
like
that.
Yeah, just popped them in.
Put them in. One died virtually straight away, and I think another one got taken by the heron. So, but 3 amazingly survived.
Nice.
So, and that started me off.
And there it began. So that was in '93.
Yeah, that was in '93. I started putting more and more in.
Yeah.
And they bred.
Wow. Okay.
So I ended up with about 70 or 80 little brown things.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd better find out what I was doing. So that's when I started finding out about filtration. This pond wasn't filtrated.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened is there's a guttering comes off the roof. The rainwater comes off the roof and comes down underneath into the pond. Yeah.
That's where it started.
Yeah. That's how it was getting replenished. But
wow.
So from that to where we are now, it's a long journey, I have to say.
Yeah, incredible. Okay, so presumably, obviously, you learned a little bit more. What changes got done to this pond?
Yeah. I put a Biotech filter on here.
Okay.
That's what started me.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, pressurised canister.
Japanese matting. Just
just on the side.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was it. But it's now become the for sale pond.
Okay.
So these are the ones that we.
On the way out the door.
Well, some of them are, but that's an interesting one. That one, that was a Kindai Showa from ISA. That's an NND one.
Okay.
That got, believe it or not, got a first at the All Japan.
Did it really?
It did.
Wow.
But it hasn't really.
No, when was that?
It's about 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
But it's got a little bit of, I'm not sure if it's secondary heel. You see where the scales are starting to come off at the back tail tube there.
Obviously now, you're in obviously a lot further down the line, the experience you've had, I think it's important. Have you come to terms with the fact that obviously a lot of these fish you're buying that will win honours like that are likely at some point, we know they're going to go downhill. Sometimes it can be sooner than you expect, but it is sort of inevitable, isn't it, in the end?
It is. I mean,
regardless of the price you pay for them as well.
I know. I mean, believe it or not, last year I had a bad year. You know, growing on, I thought in the north, it seemed to be pretty general across the board. I was getting about 2 cm growth, where normally on the more mature fish, the older, you'd expect about 5 cm. Yeah. We had problems with 1 or 2, you know, I think I had 1 death, and we had, you know, a mouth problem on another.
Yeah.
So, but these things happen, you know, with koi. It's pretty fraught, really.
They do. I just think it's important, especially for beginners coming in.
Yeah.
Might have these wild expectations, but it really is. It's a roller coaster ride, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
An emotional one and an expensive one at times, but.
And I think when you first lose an expensive fish,
that's sickening.
The absolute worst time.
Yeah.
Then after a while you get used to it.
It always has seemed to be the best one as well at times. Doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't know why that always seems to pan out, but.
I lost a very nice male with ISA. And it was going to the All Japan show. Yeah. Didn't come out the pond.
Yeah. But I think it's important. You've got to get in that frame of mind, haven't you?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just makes it impossible to do anything really. So 93 then. Where did it sort of rumble on from there? When was Japan first on the cards?
I wanted to go to Japan from about 2003 onwards, but eventually I didn't get there till 2007.
If I remember right, correct me if I am wrong, did you deal with, was it Jeff Kemp back in the day?
Yes.
And
So I first went over with Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah. And then latterly I just do my own thing, really.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously where
Yeah.
we've sort of first bumped into each other,
That's
isn't it?
right,
Obviously out
that's
there
right.
doing our own thing, and
Yeah.
you and Ray,
Yes,
great.
charging around.
It's fantastic to see. I think was it at Nagami Harvest we first really spoke.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Great
I think
place.
So. Yeah, yeah.
Really great
No,
place.
I've had good luck with Nagami Koi, you know.
Mm.
So we've won 2 Nagaoka shows.
I think for me that place, there's a real charm about it, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's in the grand scheme of things, compared to a Sakai or Dainichi, it's such a small operation.
Yeah.
But they're fighting against the big
Yeah,
boys every year,
I
aren't
think
they?
they
what
punch
they
above their
produce.
weights or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, from this pond up to the next one.
So built this one in 2005.
Yep.
That's the filter house.
Okay.
15,000 gallons. We've subsequently added the backy shower,
Yep.
and there's a reed bed there at the back to get the nitrate levels down.
Yep.
You know, because if you do heavy feeding, what I was finding is the nitrate levels were getting too high, and skin quality was suffering.
Yep.
But the issue with this pond is basically the water, because it's really hard water.
Yep.
And quite heavy line scale wise, so it's difficult to keep the koi in good condition.
Yeah. Has that always been in it? Because presumably,
Yes.
obviously, before you've done what you did in Japan, so you've kept your main collection of koi here at some point.
Yeah, I mean we've all sort of left koi in Japan to
Okay.
grow on,
Yeah.
and if they're any good to show, they're either shown in Nagaoka or
Yeah.
eventually along the line. I think in the last 7 years,
Yeah.
it's become more involved in the All Japan.
Yeah.
So you're going from what I call the Nagaoka show,
Which is a serious level, by the way, isn't it?
It is, but then All Japan's
Yeah. Serious.
just another level, and it's so hard
Yeah.
to get a koi that's good enough to go to the All Japan,
Yeah.
let alone win. And now, as you well know, everything seems to be going to auction.
Yes.
So all the big breeders are auctioning off all the koi,
Yeah.
and the Asians are playing
Yeah.
silly prices. Really.
Yeah. It's getting out of hand a little bit.
Yeah. So for the best koi,
And I don't know about you
as
as
you
well.
know, our friend in Taiwan, you know, she
Yeah.
who was up, and then you've got Ruiki going around.
Of course.
He who was up all the best koi in Japan.
Yeah.
So if you want to compete at that level, you're almost not saying forced to, but duty bound to.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
For me personally, I've dealt with Ryuki in the past.
Yeah.
Done it. My first koi show stint, the Wakago in 2016, had a great result. First Kakugyo prize I managed to bag, which
Kugyo
was
prize.
quite
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I get what you mean. It's tough because for me personally, I think part of the challenge with the shows is actually going when you're in Japan. The challenge is building the relationship with a breeder in order to get access to the fish, try and buy it, do it with the breeder. And sort of go the long way around, possibly find it at Nisai, Tosai, whatever it is, raise it a little bit until it's at the point where it's ready. So yeah, I don't know how your views on that or what
Yeah, I
side
mean,
works for
I
you
was
the
lucky with
most.
Nagami. You know, when I bought the grand champion at the Nagaoka show,
Yep.
that I bought as a Tosai.
You see, that for me is
Yeah,
just
and
the
grew it
dream,
on.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second one I got as a Nisai. So,
Nice.
but he sent me pictures and videos of 3 koi, and I picked the cheapest one,
Nice.
and that's the one that came through, got grown on, came through and won in 2018.
Always a nice touch to the story as well.
Absolutely. So that was nice,
Yeah.
but the one that's just won the mature champion at the All Japan,
Yeah.
that I got off Ricky,
Yeah.
because I think it didn't sell in one of his R collections,
Okay.
and I managed to get him off it afterwards.
That's interesting.
A little bit cheaper. You
That's
know?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I think that for me, the story you've just mentioned about those Nagami fish, it's the dream for me.
Yeah.
And the way of doing it. I think the system as it stands, it's very clear there's a system there. If someone's got the money, they can walk in and almost buy the prize to some extent
Yeah.
through that infrastructure that's like there with Narita and at some of the auctions. But yeah, not all that enjoyable for me personally.
No, I mean it's hard. You know, like if you want to compete at the All Japan level, though,
Correct.
none of these breeders are going to let those koi go cheaply.
No. I think another issue, obviously, with speaker like Narita, obviously he's a huge figure in the industry, but I think it's fair to say this is something that probably a lot of people that watch this video won't get, is not every breeder out there who makes good koi is actually very good at raising koi. And us as foreigners going there don't have any infrastructure at their hands, really. Yeah. I've seen plenty of farms over the years that, they really do the business, but can't seem to get the fish over the line enough, like somebody like Narita can in the end.
I agree. I mean, you know, you've got smaller breeders like Todamari.
Yep.
Now, I've had quite good success at the No-Go show with some of his koi.
Yeah.
But he's a small breeder, and he's not the sort of breeder that wants to take a koi to the All Japan show.
Not at all.
Same with Yasuaki at Kaneko.
Yep.
So
just happy doing what they're doing, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's
so you learn.
Correct.
You know that some of these breeders are good at growing on the koi.
Yeah.
Some are not so good. Some are higher risk.
I'd agree with that.
So and I think that's
you learn that the hard way as well, don't you?
So sometimes I have to listen to the Ricky who says no, don't leave that with the breeder. Yeah. He'll take it back.
So this pond now then. Is it fair to say it's well, as you've sort of termed it, a retirement home now?
Well, it's not quite retirement yet, but they're all getting like their own owner, getting old.
Is every purchase you make these days with the aim of competing at a show?
Yes.
So
I mean, I've got enough koi. I mean, I must have 50 into it.
Wow.
So then I've got to work out.
Yeah, fair play.
Some that aren't going to make it.
Yep.
So we've got this churn, you know.
Yeah, of course.
I've either got to bring them back, or, you know, the story you're involved with is obviously the Shiro, you know, the DK line Shiro.
I'll find another usage for them.
Yeah, so if they're good enough, sometimes I'll offer them to a breeder. Yeah. And if they want to use them as a parent koi, which Nagami's done, NND have done, then I'm quite happy to.
Another nice side of the hobby though, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because then they offer you back one or two of the, you can pick a Tosai, you know. Yeah.
I think that's an interesting point, and just obviously the amount of fish you've got there, it's just something else I think people need to be aware of. It's very much a numbers game, I think, for me, even at the highest levels. You can't just be all in on one fish, because I think it narrows the funnel too much. Yeah. Regardless of that one fish at that time when you need it might be out of condition a little bit. So if you are truly competing, you need to have that diverse portfolio of fish, and fish being raised constantly where it might look like it's got show potential at this side, but the time it's reached yon side, you realise it's not quite going to do it. And you can't be too invested in just a few fish. No.
And Adam at Cuttlebrook, you know, I've given him a couple for.
Nice.
You know, to use as parent koi. One wasn't very, Kajaka wasn't very successful, I don't think, but the shower was. So
fantastic. So is that it for this pond now then?
I think so. I'm getting too old to. I was thinking of putting another one over here, but no.
Incredible.
I mean, I've got a quarantine tank in the greenhouse.
Okay.
So what I do now is when the koi gets shipped in, I quarantine my own koi.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, looking around, can't help but admire the bonsai collection.
Yeah. It's sort of grown in the last few years.
Has it really?
I spend my time watering bonsais. You know.
They are
looking after fish and watering bonsais. Yeah.
Absolutely superb. Yeah. Are they obviously sourced in the UK, or are they sourced in Japan?
No, UK.
Yeah.
UK, yeah.
And is that, I know a little bit from your background, obviously you seem to like competing in general. Are the bonsais something you take to that extent?
No, we're not competing with the bonsais, although the guys who supply want to take a couple to the Chelsea Flower Show for their stand, you know.
Yeah, nice.
I tried to persuade them to take the little pagoda, but they, I thought it would be a nice feature on their stand, but they didn't want to take it.
Incredible.
We've got this Oase Profi Clear.
Yeah.
We've got the Blue Eco pump.
Yeah.
We've got the bubble bead, and then we've got the two old Nexuses here.
Yeah. How many drains is in that pond?
Three
so
bottom drains.
Supplying what, one to each Nexus? One to the drop?
No, what happens is that these two now go through that Profi Clear.
Yeah.
And then into the bubble bead.
I've got,
and the Nexus. That's got a Draco drum on top.
Okay.
But you can see my problem where everything's up at
Absolutely.
this level.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get up and down a bloody step ladder all the time.
So presumably the Nexus were the first system installed on the pond then? Yeah. And they've, I presume, served you well for
they have,
quite a while.
But I'm thinking of replacing them or taking one out, probably doing something over here, but quite what to do I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just got the UVs and air pumps and boiler there.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's got pretty crowded.
It always does.
Yeah.
Retrofitting and add-ons. My fish houses are no different. I seem to add something else new on every year.
But what I do want is that those, you know, the meters that measure the various.
Oh, the continuous reading ones?
Yeah. Quite where I'm going to put it, I don't know. But
yeah. And what about, do you use trickle in, trickle out, or you just top up on demand?
No, I do a water change every day.
Okay, nice.
So I do a bottom drain flush and just a water change. Yeah.
Japanese way a little bit then?
Yeah. Gives me something to do.
Absolutely. How have you found the bead filter, Donald? Was that there originally?
No, I had two big, you know, the ones that used to fill with Japanese matting.
Yeah.
You know, those big sort of, I don't know how you describe them. That's what we had in here originally, but they were a real pain. The only good thing about them was I used to get all those little snails.
Yeah.
You know, which you could feed back to the fish.
Yeah.
I was chucking them out, and then Fujo said to me, "Don't do that."
Absolutely.
Feed
I
them.
get quite a lot of snails in our systems.
Yeah.
They're absolutely brilliant. Larvae as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
The male, that Fujo male shower, that was the first success, Nagaoka show.
Yeah.
And it actually beat, it's a male.
Yeah.
And it beat the females.
Yeah.
At the 75 cm.
I like that. And
class.
when was that, Donald?
That was in 2009, I think.
Okay. So that was competing openly with the females at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it beat the females at that size, at the 75 cm.
So obviously I've picked up a couple of times that you've had that as a prize winning male. You've had other male fish as well. Are you bothered male, female, or is it about the fish? Which
it's about the koi. And I think to me, it used to be that males were far better value.
Yeah.
Not so much now.
It's closing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's closing. This is I've literally, we've been banging this drum for Koi Talk, just trying to. I think people, there's an issue when people in Go Sankey get to a point where their budget's increased.
Yeah.
They're sort of maybe spending between £1,000 and £2,000, which admittedly for most it's a lot of money for a fish considered. But all of a sudden they have this crazy wish list that it's got to be from this breeder.
Yeah.
You know, one of the big ones. It's got to be female. It's female, and they just cut out so many incredible fish that they could have been buying so much more for their money because of this stigma that they need female fish all the time, and that male fish can't win prizes. Blah blah blah. Well,
that was the first one, and it went on to the All Japan.
Yeah.
And got a first.
Wow.
But it didn't get one of the main prizes, which Fujo thought it deserved.
Okay.
Because one of Kato's, it was competing against one of Kato's.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So that was I wouldn't say excuse I was given, but anyway. So, and it was a cracking koi.
Incredible. And how long, at what point did you get
So after that, it just started to build, so it was more the Nagaoka side.
Yeah.
All Japan started in probably 2013, 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then going over in 2015 from then on.
Yeah, incredible. And as we can see, it's been successful for you.
It's been a journey, yeah.
What's been your worst experience with it so far?
Well,
or in koi keeping in general?
I think the worst is, as I said, it's losing your first expensive koi.
Yeah.
That really hits you hard, very hard.
Did it put you off at the time?
It made me question.
Yeah.
You know, what am I doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we've stuck at it and
yeah, question of sanity.
We're getting close to retirement now, so I can't leave my kids a whole load of koi in Japan, you know, to try and sort out what to do with. Yeah, that would be a bit of a problem.
Fair play.
Yeah.
And this year's All Japan, I believe you did particularly well.
Yes,
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
We got the mature champion.
That is one hell of an award, Donald.
Yeah. So that's one
That's
of the
up
main
there.
10 or 11,
Yeah.
you know. So
And just for some perspective for people, this is one of the top 10 or 11 awards at the best
Yeah.
koi show in the world.
and apparently you even get a prize from the Japanese government.
Nice.
But I got them sent over by Ricky, but I'm not sure which one it
No,
is.
fair play. That's
Because I
incredible.
don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So,
And tell us a little bit more about that fish.
Yeah, it was in Ricky's R collection, and I think it didn't sell. So whether the price was too high, and then after the sale we negotiated with him and managed to get it up.
Which breeder was it from?
Sakai.
Sakai.
So then it went the following year, well last year, to the Young Koi Show and won the Kogyo Prize.
Nice.
And then it went on to the All Japan in December and won the Mature Champion.
Okay. And how far do the aspirations go for what you're doing on the show scene, Donald? Are you looking to take a big Grand Champion prize? Are you happy doing what you're doing?
No, I'm happy doing. I think it's just too tough.
Yeah.
And too expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't, unless you can grow one.
Yeah.
You know, all the way through, fine. But to buy a bigger one, I think you're talking mega money now.
Oh, it's insane sums.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we need to see that from S Legend, don't we?
Yep.
It's pretty much the most guaranteed. It almost looked like a fix externally, didn't it? I think everyone knew that fish were going to win before the show even started, but some fish, some price tag as well.
Yeah, that was cracking fish. In fact, I saw it in 2018, I think, and I thought it was better then than when it won again, you know.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the two, it could have been 2017, I can't remember. Yeah.
So coming back to this male one,
Yep.
obviously I believe, we've got one very close mutual friend.
Yes.
In Fujo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you've had quite a few of his fish over the years.
Yes.
And pretty close with them guys.
Yes.
So they currently have a new Shiro Utsuri lineage, the sort of like second phase of it, which is known as DK Shiro.
The DK line.
DK lineage. Most people I don't think still know what that means, but that's your initials.
It is, yes. I bought two Shiros from a Masako in 2014.
Yeah.
And they got grown on, they got taken to the All Japan show.
Yeah.
Both got thirds, and Fujo saw the two there.
Yeah.
He wanted the one I liked.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I want to keep that one, I want to bring it home.
And that's the fish swimming in your pond now?
It is.
Yeah.
And I said, you can have the other one if you want it as a parent koi.
Yeah.
So they drove down to a Masako.
Indeed, some drive.
KB has told you the story.
Yeah.
And they took it back. First year, I think, slightly mixed result.
Yeah, which is normal.
Yeah.
It's normal.
So, but I think they've just gone from strength to strength in terms of the quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, or the
I think the
koi
first
they're breeding.
Again, you've probably seen it. The first year, the lineage that they developed initially was doing incredibly well. Yeah. Certainly in the smaller sizes. They quickly got a lot of dominance on the koi show circuit, but they didn't seem to be pushing above certain sizes. And even as whenever, I still remember back when NND started, so obviously Makoto, his Sankey were always superb, Umo Showa always did really well. Yeah. There wasn't, I think the Umo Showa possibly did better size-wise than the Maru Show Sankey. Yeah. I remember that first year they just changed the technique and started raising jumbo toe side, but I don't know, you'll have been around with them at the time. For me, the bodies didn't work. Yeah. As in this side, they looked very uncomfortable, like they'd been forced. The body couldn't naturally carry that weight. Yeah. So I think it was just the year after I was actually out there in the summer again, and they'd bought their first Sakai Sankey that they introduced in, and all of a sudden that was a huge game changer in the bone structures of fish there, and took Marusho Sankey on to. It's actually Ray that owns the big one, isn't it?
What, Marigold?
Is that what it's called? It's done phenomenal with them Sankey now. Yeah. I mean, there's several there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
90 plus, which is incredible from that humble beginnings where they were sort of struggling with the size a little bit. So the Shiro Utsuri has pretty much done the same. They look like they were struggling a bit. Yeah. Obviously, they've got this powerhouse of a fish from you, which to see it, and we'll get some pictures.
Yeah.
It's all about the bone structure of that fish.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see it now. I did see it in the first spawning, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was a structural change in them fish, certainly around the head shape. And yeah, just gone on from there.
Yeah, 'cause when they picked it up, I think it was 86 cm. And Makota, the master feeder, he's grown it on to, I think it's 95 cm now,
Yeah.
which is big for a shearer.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's incredible.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, there was a time when that wasn't even thinkable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, incredible. So if you don't mind us asking, obviously I'm sure people will be curious, what's involved in a deal like that for you? Because obviously that's a pretty valuable fish that you've just gone, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, what I get a choice of 1 or 2 tosai.
Yeah.
Every year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we keep growing on. I'm not sure I need more koi, but anyway, it's a good story. So I think it's better off that the koi is put to some good use, rather than coming back in a pond here. So I'm quite happy for them too.
And I think another misconception as well is that generally, even breeders in the world of koi have all got these infinitely deep pockets for buying fish. Even at the size of NND, the level of investment for them to buy a fish such as yours would possibly not been that easy for them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've just offered Sakai Sankey to Makoto, but he's being a bit sniffy,
Nice.
So I don't think it's. I think I'm going to have to ship it, So yeah.
Superb. But no, it's a nice touch. I know I've had one shot in the past. I had a male shower from Issa.
Oh right.
That I owned, and that was at the time Issa would only let me keep it there for 1 year.
Right.
And it had done so well. I'm like, this is going to be a shame to ship this.
Yeah.
Now good friends with Marusen Kobayashi in Koide. So I'd actually the year before that sold him a fish I had at Matsue. We were just out drinking one night, and he somehow ended up with my phone, and he was flicking through obviously all the millions of fish pictures, and saw this Matsue show, and he's like, "What's this?" That's my fish. He says, "I want it." Okay, so he actually ended up buying that from me, and then I just thought, great chance here. Why don't you pair it with the Issa? But unfortunately, it was never a particularly great set.
Right.
I think the biggest part of the problem was for most of the time the male Issa was bigger and more dominant than the female Matsue, and they couldn't ever seem to catch up. This male was just an absolute machine. So. Gosh. Yeah, unfortunately, but it was a nice experience, being part of that journey with one of them.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
Yep. No, it's fun. It's fun, interesting. So certainly challenging.
Yeah, incredible.
So, but I think if anybody wants to go down that route, they have to go to. Excuse me. They have to go to Japan, because you don't really understand what it's all about from a distance.
No.
You have to. Work at it, you have to get to know the breeders, you have to learn, their judgment is far better than yours or mine.
Yeah, especially with their own fish.
Yeah, absolutely, they know.
It is interesting, I still see now you can take somebody who's doing what they did, bred koaku for all these years, their own thing, you put them in another environment with another breeder's fish, and you'll get all this conflict in opinion as to which is the best, blah blah blah. It's fascinating when you see them at that level.
That's
like
it.
That as well.
That one on the right there with the globe, that's the one from the mature champion.
This year's.
Yeah.
Nice. What was your sort of main source of advice and knowledge initially then, Donald? Obviously from where you started,
basically really talking to the breeders, but over time, I just found if I bought koi that I liked, some would go wrong, but some would, come good.
Yeah.
But I also asked the breeder, what they think.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends what you want the koi for.
Exactly the point, yeah.
If you want to come out, look in your pond, and see a koi you like, and you've bought well.
Happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're buying for showing, then you've got to look at the different, the formation, all the body shape, skin quality, all those sort of issues that that come along, you know. I mean, I'm still into think, you know, whether the tail tube is thick enough, or the, you know, as the koi grows, or the eye's going to sink in a bit. All these sort of things that are, some may relate to one breeder, but not to another. So it's very difficult to know how that koi is going to evolve. But people have to understand that certain varieties are higher risk than others. I mean, with Kahaka's, pretty much what you see is what you're going to get as it grows. With some of the other varieties, you know, you've got to be have a bit more of an imagination.
Indeed.